Hello, hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for coming. Hold on to your seats. We'll be starting in a little bit. Show officially won't be starting until 7. For now, enjoy the music. Say hello in the chat. How are y'all doing? Let us know. Getting started soon, everyone. Just hold on. For now, I have a question for the chat. This question is about pineapple on pizza. If you approve of pineapple on pizza, please type yes into the chat. If you don't like pineapple on pizza, please also type yes. All right, people, welcome. Good evening, everyone. This is about to get started in just a few seconds. We are kicking it off with a few words from Professor GJ Lee, Game Development Program Coordinator. So please give it up.
Hello, and welcome everyone to our virtual Capstone showcase presented by the Creative Arts and Technology Division of Bloomfield College. Some general housekeeping. We are here to celebrate our students, so please be mindful of your behavior and each other's behavior in the chat. My name is GJ, and I am a Game Dev faculty member and program coordinator. Game design and game programming are two of the 7 majors offered in CAT. The others being animation, graphic design, expanded media, interactive multimedia, and music technology. We are returning for our second virtual showcase this year. Tonight is an evening where we celebrate and look back on our interdisciplinary and community-centric program philosophy. As a program, we share opportunities and host events to enrich the learning experience and professional development of our students. Last January, we hosted Global Game Jam Online and had over 100 participants make 36 games over the course of 48 hours. Our game dev faculty all have extensive experience in their fields. They teach, inspire, and challenge our students to push themselves further as creatives and problem solvers. So we want to acknowledge and thank our current professors, Blake Andrews, Dennis Carr, Rob Canciello, Elisa Menez, Chris Pilati, Tom Toyton, and Capstone co-instructor Brian Chung. We also have to acknowledge our CAT faculty and staff who also guide our students as they advance through their college careers. So if any of you are here, please let us know. If you are here, please let us know, and welcome. Capstone as a class is a 2-semester-long project. Students work solo, or in a team, and create a prototype before the semester begins. They then develop that prototype into a complete game. They are managing all aspects of game development: asset creation, creative direction, design, programming, narrative, testing, and so forth. It's quite a lot. While they are developing their games towards a public release, they are also developing their research, their online presence, business and launch plans, and of course, their own portfolios and resumes. Our showcase tonight features trailers, gameplay, and interviews. If anyone has a question, please drop them in chat and the devs will be able to answer them. I will now hand this off to our host Brian to lead the next portion of the showcase. So please let's see some hand claps in chat to welcome him. Thank you.
Thank you, GJ. Hello, everyone. This is Adjunct Professor Brian Chung, and we are about to delve into the minds of the Capstone class. They're a talented group of game developers, artists, designers, and more. They are all creatives who are multidisciplinary in so many ways. And we are really excited to bring them on to share their vision. In just a moment here, we'll get our first guests on the call. All right, let's go into the first game here, which will be Hunter Brigade. We have the team behind Hunter Brigade here. Do you all want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Edwin Martinez. I'm the game designer, narrative, and QA tester of the team. We have Darrell Moden here. He was the program level designer and 3D modeler. And last but not least, we have Javier Del Rosario, who was our 2D artist and designer.
Cool, glad to have you all here. Can you tell us something real quick about what Hunter Brigade is?
Hunter Brigade is a 3D rail shooter that was inspired from games of the past, such as Star Fox. To give a brief description of the game, you're a lone bounty hunter who will not take a job too small or too large, and you live for the risk and reward.
Really cool. And you guys have a trailer, so why don't we play that and show that to everyone
Sure.
right now? Okay, check it out. All right, cool. Saw in that end of that trailer there that it's coming out later this year.
Correct.
Cool. Where will we be able to find it there?
We'll be able to find it on specifically on itch.io. The link specifically is going to be hunterbrigade dot itch.io/hunter brigade.
Okay, cool. I got the game open here and just about ready to jump into it. Cool, so we got a ship here that we're controlling. This is the tutorial level. Moving with WASD and tilting with Q and E. You can fly through the wings to get speed boost. There are various items that will assist you on your journey. So you can collect them like these items. And can you tell us a little bit about these items?
Some of the items in the game, such as the health box, will give you health. There are crystals that you collect to increase your score, and at times there may be some items that, such as like homing missiles, that come later into the game that you can use to attack enemies a bit easier.
Cool. And this is a really crisp art style. Got a lot of... Okay, so we got some story here. I won't read the whole thing, so people at home can enjoy this when they download the demo. I will jump right into the first level and show that off. But looks like we got quite a bit of lore here. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 levels, the first one being Electric Dunes. Cool. So this is the first real mission. And we are here on a desert. There's some items. So I was just thinking on that tutorial level, and also here, of course, there's really a lot of this sense of movement that you've really captured in this game. Like, it might be subtle to some people, but the way the camera is moving is really accentuating sort of the way the ship is moving, and everything's got this trail to it that kind of accentuates the speed of everything. Can you talk a little bit about art style and animation style and some of the considerations you've made here?
In terms of art, I use watercoloring to help bring out the cell shading of the stage, the environmental stage, and surround formation. Not too in-depth detail, enough to keep it slightly cartoonish in a way. And in terms of animation, I kept it mostly simple enough just to give it, not too much fluid animation, enough to just look appealing to the eyes.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Things are both very like textured, but also kind of crisp and clean. So I think that's an interesting balance that you've got there. Whoa. Okay, wow. We got a lot of enemies here, a lot of different types of antagonists, and some small, some large. Just gonna make it through this level here. Ring for the speed boost, and you can really feel that speed boost. The way the camera zooms out right there to sort of show that you're going faster. I think it's a really good touch. So we got some warnings. I assume that means like a boss is coming up. There we go. Wow, talk about some of your inspirations for this game? I think you mentioned Star Fox. Any other inspirations, or what about Star Fox did you feel like you wanted to capture or do differently?
Specifically, we focus on the Star Fox aspect just because we really love how the idea of being able to fly your own ship and being able to dodge enemies, throughout different environments seemed really neat to us. We wanted to basically capture that within our game by having different enemy types and different bosses throughout each stage.
Cool, yeah, there's definitely a bunch of different enemy types that you have to sort of respond and move differently to. And that seems to be a big focus here is, sort of the control and the movement and sort of adapting to whatever's given at you. And there's something always changing, so I find myself constantly having to adapt to it. But yeah, there's this focus on the feeling of the flight and the movement. I think when people at home try this demo out, you'll see exactly what I mean. Almost here. That boss's health bar is just about done. Cool. And there we have a portal. Portals are for going through. Yeah, I really like the color palette that you have come up with and the visual design that you've got here, in addition to the gameplay and the movements.
Yeah, we wanted to keep the game as unique as possible with the art style and 3D modeling with Darrell and Javier. We felt, it kept it different where it didn't seem too cartoony or too serious in any way.
Very cool. So this is the demo of the game. Does that mean people can get the demo as it is and try it out?
Correct. You can get the demo right now, stated previously on our itch page. And yeah, if you also want to follow us, we're also on Twitter at Hunter Brigade.
At Hunter Brigade, okay. Follow them
at
on Twitter.
Hunter_Brigade.
Hunter_Brigade.
Yes.
We'll post that link in the chat. All right, thank you all so much for joining us and showing us the game. It's a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having us.
Cool. All right, now we are gonna bring on the next team. We have another game called Child of Norn, and we also have the team here to chat with us about it. Team, do you all want to introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Zachary Colibus. I'm level designer and environmental artist.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm also level designer and game designer. Help with creating game systems or designing them rather, and UI designer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Guerreri. I was also a level designer. My specific job was to make the hard layout of the levels. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Tristan Diaz, and I'm the lead programmer.
And finally, hi, I am Brianna Matheson, and I was the audio designer, and asset manager.
Awesome. It's great to have you all here with us. So, Child of Norn, can you give us a little recap of what this game is about?
Yeah, sure. So, Child of Norn is an open-world action platformer set in the ancient lands near the Nordic coast. You play as the character Frida as you're exploring the lands, trying to get to the World Tree. and you're accompanied by her magical axe that has gifts from the gods, which will help you traverse the land and break through all the puzzles.
Awesome. Let's play the trailer so everyone can see what you're talking about. And here it is. Okay, sick trailer. I saw at the end card there that it is coming soon, both itch and Steam, so we'll all keep our eye out for that. I am going to boot up the game, and yeah, while I do that, can you tell us a little bit about the inspirations for the game, or maybe about the theme of the game? I saw that there is a little bit of sort of a Nordic theme or reference. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so when we started this game, we were really kind of up in the air about what we wanted to choose for our theme. And it took us a little bit, but after a while, we ended up choosing to go with something more Viking related, because especially around that time, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was coming out. Seemed kind of like an appropriate thing. But as far as gameplay goes, it's a little bit of Mirror's Edge with the free running, but it's kind of inspired by what is it, God of War aesthetics.
And Portal with the platforming, sort of puzzling, getting through rooms.
All right, cool. I'm about to jump at the game. I know the game will actually tell us the controls during the game, so yeah, I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay, here we are. Looks like we've just arrived on this longship, is it called? And we've got a world tree that you mentioned before where this journey will end. Yeah, I think I see a really big tree in the background there. Let's see if we can make our way there. That must be the world tree, a really huge tree. Cool, so looks like I've got a compass on top. I'm going east, and I guess the tree is towards the east. So I'm gonna make my way there. I've got 2 paths to take, but this one looks a little more direct to the tree, so I'll take that. So with 3D games that have that are sort of large and open, there's some challenges with level design and sort of directing the player where to go. This bridge looks broken. Do you want to talk a little bit about level design and how you're sort of directing the player in certain directions?
Yeah, so
when we were designing the level, one of the biggest things was trying to be able to keep the character on track because this is a pretty large open world area. So we used a lot of like visual cues and dialogue to kind of direct the player so they know which way they're going. So as you can see, you walked up to that broken bridge, which normally would have led you directly to the tree. But with a little bit of visual dialogue and a little bit of visual aesthetic and dialogue, it's able to let you know that that's not the correct way to go just because it's inaccessible. So you'll notice as you go through this game that there's a lot of little things just like that to try and guide you towards the direction that you need to go. And then later in the game, once you've surpassed a little bit of the challenges, it actually opens up a little bit so you can kind of, free explore. So you don't have to worry about following the linear path, but it will guide you back to it.
Got it. Yeah, this is a really chill environment. I love, the birds chirping and the gentle piano music. Oops. Looks like there was a little bit of platforming there. That's good. I guess there's actually a kind of a hidden checkpoint system, huh? So that you don't actually ever lose too much progress.
Yeah, we don't want to get the players too frustrated with some of the segments.
It looks like I can run. And shiny thing. Played enough video games to know that you should go towards the shiny thing. Press E when you're near the ledge to pull yourself up. Okay, yeah, so I can't... Okay, there we go. And here's another ledge that I can pull myself over. Press E there, okay. Yeah, and it has this feeling of being kind of an open natural landscape, but it's always pretty clear to where to go next, even when it's not immediately clear. Like I have to figure something out here. I can kind of tell that in the long run, I'm making my way over there, right? To the shiny architecture is definitely giving some kind of affordance that it's something that I should do or go to. So here's another platforming segment. Be careful with my jumps here. Did the lighting change?
Yeah, the sun moves.
Yep. So that's not something you usually see in a lot of games, but we have. Can you tell us a little bit about that? The sun is moving.
Yeah. So in this game, in the overworld area that you're currently in, we added a day-night cycle to kind of keep the feeling of being in like a live world. There just to keep the aesthetics alive. It was a little bit of a challenge when we were putting it into the game, but it honestly turned out really nice. It kind of gives a nice feel to the game, like how long that you've been spending in there, because the day-night cycle is relatively short. It's not super quick or anything, but it's not like really long either.
Very cool. I think I lost my axe here.
You want to press right click or hold it to get it back?
Might have it stuck.
If you press it a couple times, it should come back to you.
Okay. Can't really remember where I threw it.
Which build are you using, by the way?
Oh, the 1.0. Should I be using the dev build?
Oh yes. We had updated released the dev build specifically for this use. So we put in like shortcuts in the controls, like so you could teleport between scenes if you don't want to spend too much time in a certain place or
Oh, I
lost
understand.
progress.
Let's see. Well, this is the build I have. So what I'm gonna do is speed run to the same spot. I think I could do that with your ultra fast running here. Okay. So the axe is being used to break down trees. I understand it's going to be used for, yeah, so the lighting looks totally different this time around. And there's that procedural sun, which I think is a really interesting touch. Gives a lot of character to the space. And so, yeah, the axe is used to break things that are in your path. And I think it's going to be used for some other things as well. Or are we going to see that soon enough, I guess?
Yeah, right after you get through that wall, you'll see another function it has. It has like 5 functions. Has a couple.
Right, notice how different this place looks now that it's lit differently. Okay. A little more platforming here. We're already back at the same spot. Okay, so here's an obstruction that I'll break that. And here's those grapple posts that I've seen before. Press Q once attached to grapple to it. Yeah, I think that was, I noticed we saw these from the distance over there, so you know, I think that was good sense to show somebody something that, you know, they couldn't reach yet, but that they know they have to get to later, just sort of as a preview, and to just sort of know what your objective is when navigating around such a large open space.
Yeah, that was my reason for changing their appearance. They used to look less noticeable, and I added that sort of glowing texture around them. Just give them that sort of standout.
Yeah, prior they were just rock textures, and now they have the glowing shader.
Yeah, I think that was a good judgment there. This is definitely a cave entrance, but I see a place I haven't gone to also, and being curious, you know, there's even this wooden plank here, which is yet another affordance that this is a thing, right? So I want to see this. Whoa. That's where I started from and where I came up, and there's the cave that I'll come back to. Go past the waterfall here. There's always a secret behind waterfalls, right? That's like a video game thing. The language of video games. Okay, yeah, there is something behind the waterfall. Not a bridge. There is a coin. What are the coins?
They're just collectibles that the player can come around to find. There are 20 in the game.
Ooh, okay. That looks a bit too far to jump, but it does look like there's more stuff there.
Yeah, so in this overworld area, you actually return to it several times, so you will just pass through there later.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's good to make mental notes of things as you explore through this game.
Oh, I've definitely noted that.
Yeah. So the idea with this was if you got to like near the end of the game and you didn't take this path, you would have seen the coin from the other side of over there, and you wouldn't have been able to reach it.
Ah, right.
And then you would have to do the fun task of running all the way back around to come get it.
Well, that makes sense. That's a thing also, showing something that they can't reach. You know, sort of enticing the player to go search for it a different way. And now that you're mentioning all this, I do remember at the very beginning I took two paths, or there were two paths and I chose one. So
Yeah, a lot of the exploring is enjoyable to us because it's one of the main replayabilities of this game. To try and make sure that you've gone through it and you've tried to explore at least most of the nooks and crannies of everything that's going on. Try and get like a full experience.
very cool. Yeah, so I'm glad to hear that players return to the space because it's so just with the sky and the sun and the passage of time and the gentle piano music and the birds chirping. I do want to come back here. Yeah, in contrast to this, which is kind of a scary place, huh? That is a sheer drop off, so I don't want to fall down there. I'm gonna make a long running jump for this. Press space to jump towards walls with scuff marks. Whoa, that is rising. Oh, I gotta go through this fast, huh? Okay.
Yeah, apologies for the dialogue not pausing that. Realized that after, and we never got around to it.
It's okay. I know what to do here. There is, I can sort of run off the wall here. Ooh, did I make it? Looks like I'm just about to miss it. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this is a different style of level from the main overworld, which is a little more exploratory. There was a little bit of platforming, but I see that we're sort of alternating between more exploratory kind of levels and more challenge-based levels here.
Yeah, I think a good inspiration to explain this as is kind of like Breath of the Wild for Legend of Zelda, where most of the open world is kind of free for you to explore and kind of roam around, but then when you find a dungeon, the dungeons are purely puzzle based, and then you get to the end of it.
Okay, so I've got a wall run here, and I want to aim my jump a little more precisely like that. Okay, that's good. And yeah, we saw in the trailer there were a lot of different dungeons like this. There was like sort of maybe I want to say an ice themed one and a fire themed one. And do you want to talk about like a broad overview of what sort of worlds there are?
Yeah, so in total there are 3, including the one that you're playing as. Each one with a different theme. The first one being just a generic kind of cave scene, just so that way you can get the feel of the like the mechanics and everything. And then as you explore, you go through different elements which are helpful for when you start using the abilities on your axe. So the second one being an ice world, and the third world being a fire world. Because this is a Nordic Norse Viking game, it's inspired by the Norse gods mythology. So originally when we had the plan to put some story into this game, the area that you're currently in was supposed to be the first room that Loki was trying to kind of like execute you. And that's kind of why you have that green rising liquid. We actually called it Loki juice when we created it. And then in the second world with the ice, you were supposed to originally meet Ymir, who is the ice giant. And then the third world was supposed to be Muspelheim, which is the land of fire. And there was a third god that you were supposed to also meet, who was the fire giant as well. Due to some, time issues, we actually had to cut back on some of those things.
Very cool. So I'm already, there's a bit of challenge to this, which is, the point of the game, but you can tell I'm already getting much better at this. And I'm getting a sense of the timing and the distances and going through these parts faster. Oops. Okay. Make that before the next rise. What I will do is leave it off around here. People saw the trailer, so hopefully you got a taste of how levels work, both the exploratory levels and the challenge levels, and that there are more parts to this giant open world that players will come back to. I assume on the other end of this cave, you come out to another part of this world somewhere. Is that right?
Yeah, so actually, if you look up to your top right where the snow-capped mountains are, because the second world is your ice level, this cave actually will end up in a valley at the top of the mountain, which will bring you to your next level.
Cool.
So a lot of the thematic aesthetics of the game will kind of guide you towards your levels, and you'll understand where you are as you go.
And then ultimately we'll make it to that world tree?
Yep. That is the final area in this overworld that you'll lead to, and then there's one level directly after it, which is the ending.
Got it. All right. So the game is coming out soon, right? Itch and Steam?
Yeah, so May 14th is our official release date of the game on Itch, and we are currently setting everything up so we can release it on Steam.
Okay, if we have any links, we'll drop that into the chat. But otherwise, thanks so much for sharing this game with us. Really excited to play the full release later.
It's actually unfortunate that you downloaded this build, because the other one we completed the game. We just have a couple polishes here and there that we just wanted to add, but like I said, the other build we added a script to allow you to teleport between using a couple secret keys, so that way you could see all of the levels.
Yeah. Well, thankfully the game is coming out soon, and the trailer's out, so people can get a look at what those levels are looking like. But yep. Yeah.
That trailer is on YouTube for anyone to watch.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing, everyone, and thanks for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Cool. All right, let's see. Next up, we've got a game called Wilbur's Quest. And this game is by William, right? Are you here? If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Will.
Cool. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Wilbur's Quest?
Yep. It's a puzzle Metroidvania game about a worm's quest to find the surface, traverse rooms with snake-like movement, and solve puzzles with block pushing. The player will need to shoot, grow, and explore in order to uncover the secrets of this underground land and discover what lies beyond.
Awesome. Let's check out the trailer. All right, that's Wilbur's Quest. I saw at the end of the trailer there it said coming to Steam and that we can wishlist it now.
Yeah, that's a bit of a lie because the Steam page isn't out quite yet, but it will be soon.
Cool. So we'll keep our eye out. Wilbur's Quest on Steam. I'm going to open the game so that we can hop right in there.
I'll also be posting my Twitter in the chat, which
Oh.
I'll post a release on there. If
Cool.
you guys want to follow that.
Yeah, follow Will on Twitter
It'll be Koko Game Dev.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we'll post the link at the chat here. While I open this game up, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we saw? So there's definitely some puzzle elements. It looks like looks really simple at first, but we see here it gets to have some pretty looks like some pretty difficult puzzles coming up, and a few different mechanics as well beyond just the worm movement.
So yeah, it starts off with pretty simple block pushing Sokoban elements. Players meant to explore around, get a feel for what the game actually is, and throughout this time, their main goal is to find the surface to beat the game. And as time goes on, they'll discover more interesting blocks, some cool abilities that we'll get to see. I don't want to just spoil too much, but
okay, here we got it loading. You mentioned one thing, Sokoban style, or you referenced Sokoban. For people who aren't familiar, do you want to talk about what we mean by Sokoban?
So Sokoban is a pretty old game that kind of made its own genre of just pushing blocks around. And those blocks are like solid, and you have to find, usually it's on a 2D like top-down perspective. And you just end up having to navigate around the blocks and finding ways to fit. They're also usually like in very compact spaces, so you have to figure out how to get around the blocks to get to other blocks and reach your goal, whatever the game decides that goal is. And in this case, it's moving through the rooms and just progressing.
Right. Yeah, and it's a pretty old game, and basically since has spawned pretty much a whole massive genre of puzzle games. And yeah, usually top down, but yours is sort of the side view, so gravity is at play here.
Yep.
So we've got a worm, and there's that gravity, so we're dealing with the fact that the worm is basically 3 segments long, and sort of using that ear to puzzle through how to collect that, because that's obviously a collectible, right? A shiny rotating thing. Okay, we got 2.
And also, real quick, can you hold V and press up to show the map real quick?
Yep. Oops, that's
no, up for the map.
Right. Yeah,
There, yeah.
there's the map.
So yeah, you'll see. I want to check this back later to see how it progressively, expands out, and you can see where you've been in the past.
Yep. So those 2 on the left are the rooms I started in, and that room up top was a room that I peeked into but couldn't actually get into because there was a block in the way. So yeah, I imagine we'll return there. And let me get across here. And let's see here. There's a collectible on the right, but you know what? I don't think I can reach it yet. I imagine we'll come back here. I know you've mentioned you've used the word, was it either open world or Metroidvania, have an element of that to your puzzle game here?
Yeah, so this first starting area is pretty linear because I want to get the player used to pushing blocks around and how the mechanics actually work, and just getting used to the movement and traversing rooms. But later it'll open up quite a bit, because there's an ability to undo and reset the rooms, and those are usually typical in a puzzle game, and they're usually have them right off the bat, but I decided to add them as abilities. And because of that, the starting rooms have to be very particular in making sure that they can't get stuck anywhere. So I have to be very careful with the level design. But later, after they can undo and reset, it doesn't really matter if they get stuck. So I can kind of, open it up and do more interesting things.
That's really interesting. So that's something that's not usual to a lot of Sokoban style games. A lot of times they're sort of a series of one-off puzzle rooms, right? You finish one puzzle and you don't really come back. I mean, there might be some games like that, but I understand you did a lot of research into puzzle games in general.
And I will say you've already messed up to be able to get up there, and that's okay. I've kind of designed it so that players who are really, they really take the time and to think about the puzzle first. You'll have to progress to the left. They should be able to get that secret up there, and you'll be able to come back to it later when you have more abilities.
Okay.
But I kind of wanted to give like a special, I don't know, reward to people who like just sit and think about the puzzle really quickly before moving on. But it's also okay if they just skip it all, because they'll be able to come back later for 100%ing the game.
Good, I'll come back to that. Yeah, so this is a specific style of it's a very thinky puzzle game. Yeah, you want to think about your moves before you make them, which I'm not the greatest at, but we'll do our best here. Okay, so this is an interesting room where I got a preview of what's on the other tube. I get that. Oops. Gotta actually get it. There, yeah. Really like the subtle effects here with also the visuals and the sound. It seems like there's a little bit of randomization of the tones that we're hearing, and there's some subtle effects with the lighting and some of the particles that are sort of floating and fading. And the way that the camera is very slightly drifting, it gives it all sort of this nice sense of sort of characterizes the space we're in here. Let's see about this puzzle.
I would say at this point you can probably skip ahead a little bit.
Okay.
Just in the interest of time. So you can press E a couple times to get to the gate room.
One more room. Yeah, okay, so I gotta use this whole corner to turn around. And this room is really reminding me a lot of some classic Sokoban style rooms.
Yeah, actually, this room, oh god.
What's that?
You can go ahead.
Oh yeah, where you sort of gotta really oops. These sort of one-ways and the particular ways to make U-turns around corners and having to go around the long way of getting a block into a place sort of forces you to get to in that mind space of thinking about like individual tiles and spaces and how to turn and push things. But yeah, I know we wanted to look to sort of peek ahead and look at some later levels, so let me go ahead and skip through here. Give me a second here. So I'm going to use the sort of a cheat code here to skip ahead to, I believe it's this level that we're getting to here. Is this the one?
And so those blue cubes you've been picking up, there are enough so that you can skip some of them.
Uh-huh.
And you can see you just ate one of them off the slots. And I kind of place these around so that hopefully the player will run into them in the right way, so that they place them and realize that they can place them in those slots. And I kind of left that first one there to signify that, you know, it stays there instead of floating around. And you can also, you'll need one more, so you can just hit 5 to add one to your inventory.
Okay, I see. So you sort of move towards it, but if you move over it again, you pick it back up. So that's part of the puzzle here.
It's part of the puzzle elements, and also you will be able to pick them up because you'll need to move them around later on when you come across more gates and other things.
And I need to give myself one because at this point in the game, I actually would have one more, right? Was that the 6?
Oh, it's 6.
Okay. Okay, so filling them all opens up this gate here. So we're starting to see new, you know, some of the more mechanics beyond the basic, which is placing the fragments and a door that unlocks. Hold B. Okay.
Yeah, for these you can just go to the next room. So most of the abilities I placed in just for this demo and the way I arranged the levels, they're not representative of how you'll actually collect them. They're going to be more, you know, spread out and tutorialized. But just for this demo, I give them to you like right away.
Okay. Let me do that thing where I think about it a little first. If I push this down there, that for sure will get stuck. Oh.
And actually, so this one, the 2 abilities you got were the undo and reset, so it's okay to make mistakes here.
Got it. But I think I got it. See, if I pushed that forward without thinking about it, I would have gotten stuck there.
And I had planned that to be exactly as the player would, and then they would need to undo that.
So this is a block that does not fall based on gravity. So I can use it like that. Okay. So it looks like you introduced these elements. Like there wasn't much of a puzzle to that last one, but it was sort of introducing the block and how it works, because now we're gonna have a little more of a puzzle to it. Okay.
And so yeah, when it prompts you to like shoot like that, I'll have, you know, more of the crystals around to actually see what they do right away. This one you kind of have to experiment a little bit because you don't know yet.
Ooh, okay. So I got in there and I can shoot it to move it, but I'm gonna have to get out of it to reorient my direction. And can I go there? And I'm gonna have to think about this.
Do you want me to tell you the path to get up? Because there are some dead ends.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so you want to go up to that middle section where you were and then go to the right.
But because of that little bump on the... Wait, no,
well, you can just go up one higher.
Okay. Oops.
And this is, you can undo to where you got to there.
Undo is which key?
C.
C. Okay. Got it. Oh, that's nice. Wait, was this okay? Yeah.
No, you don't want to get out. You want to stay in it for the whole time.
Okay. So I'm gonna go up and then right. And then right again. Then I'm gonna want to get up. Oh, I can change my direction without actually leaving, of course. just can't go left without leaving. Okay, so we enter.
And this actually is the typical use for the green crystals. Usually you move them into other blocks to push them around, but I just thought this was a neat little gimmick of having to like go through a little maze of sorts.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there's a fragment there, but maybe I'll come back for it. Oops.
Yeah, the rest of the fragments you won't need from this point. They're just there for when the actual level will be in the world.
So I was gonna ask why a worm, but I guess this this segment metaphor is a good one. Oops. But yeah, can you tell us about sort of the worm and the theme and why you went with that?
So yeah, this game was also inspired by a game called Snakebird, which has movement mechanics pretty much exactly like this. And it plays more like the original Snake, where once you collect like a piece of fruit, you grow immediately and you can't change that. And in that game, you use the different snakebirds to reach an end portal by like building bridges for themselves and just building up to where they need to go without blocking themselves or dying on spikes. And I wanted to take that idea and make it more of an open world thing. So the length abilities are controlled at will, and you'll collect more of them like you just did. Those aren't the actual spots that they'll be in, but they're kind of gating the player in certain areas, so that you can see when you first got the first one, you weren't high enough yet until you collected it.
Right.
So there'll be little areas like that, and sometimes they won't be as obvious. Like you might actually need it to use in a puzzle.
Yeah, it's really interesting to you know, control the length of the worm as part of the navigating this. Okay, so now we're seeing a red crystal, which I guess you push it onto a red into its place to open a gate. Okay. And they also, with shooting, can. Okay. Can do that.
So the green crystal will move when you shoot it, and the red ones will kind of shoot out of the ends that they have.
Got it.
And this puzzle is actually a little tricky if you didn't watch the tutorial beforehand. So you can skip it in a little bit if you want. And just in case it wasn't obvious, so you can push crystals onto their respective buttons, and you can also shoot the projectile on top of the buttons, which will power them temporarily until you shoot again.
Got it.
And the purpose of that is to unlock the doors, like the one you see on the right. So this one needs 5 red buttons to open.
So I probably won't get this, but just giving our viewers a taste of how difficult some of these puzzles might get. And yeah, it looks like you've got a mix of fast rooms, or easy puzzles, and slow rooms, or hard puzzles.
Yeah, and again, this is also for the demo, so I would not introduce a puzzle like this right after you get introduced to the buttons. Like the one before this room is more akin to what you will find for your first button.
Cool. But yeah, getting a sense of the map and where we've come so far.
And since you skipped through some of the rooms, it's not going to load the other rooms, but you can hit 7, I think, to unlock the full map.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so this is quite a map here. Each one of those being one of the rooms that had its own puzzle. So I can see, is that where, those are where the fragments that I need to collect are.
And yeah, so that initial like hub area is what the starting area will more look like. But the areas after that are completely linear right now. Yeah, again, those are for the demo, and the world will be much bigger and more interconnected than this.
Okay, very cool, very ambitious, and should give players a lot to dive into. Let me get a preview of this next room here, and because it shows off one of the other crystals. Okay, so we got a large room that has sort of 2 points of interest for the camera. Okay, so there's a block hidden behind. You know what? I should probably. Oh, whoops. I was about to say I should probably look at what I'm gonna have to do over here, which is looks like make a long bridge, basically.
And yeah, so when the player's not meant to get it on the first try, I kind of wanted to make a little guessing game out of this, and then if they need to, they would reset and try to get the blocks to fall in the right order, because you can't lift some of them up.
This is not gonna work.
No, that will.
Oh yeah.
It still will. You can grow one more as well.
Right. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, this one's a little lenient, but some of them might need to be like an exact length to get through them.
Cool, and this is a puzzle that will use somehow all 3 types of crystal. So the green one will just move when you shoot it and will stay in its place. The red one, when you shoot it, well, okay, I'm gonna come down here. The blue one will break when you hit it. I'm guessing I'm gonna need to use that piece somehow. Oh, okay. Looks like I'm gonna need to use the other pieces to get to this piece. And I'm probably gonna have to come down here. Right. Trying to fall this way, okay. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Let's see. I can put that gray block on the bottom there if I'm sure I don't need it for something else. Okay, let's go back. I think I pushed the green block up.
So this one, there's no immediately like any tunnel that you can see to go to. So what's your main goal right now? Or like what's your end goal of this room?
Oh well, I definitely thought of going. The only opening I see is the top, so I'm definitely thinking about going up there. And the other thing I'm thinking about is getting down into this tunnel down on the lower right, so that I can push the red crystal out from the right to the left. To do that, I'm thinking I need to push this gray block. Oh shoot. Okay, so I need to push the gray block from left to right, not from right to left. But I had an issue doing that. Can I grow more?
You cannot.
This is my max length. Okay, so this is exactly the type of the really thoughtful kind of planning and decision making that needs to be done for this. How to get one block to another, and now there's sort of 3 stages to this end goal of this room to get to the top opening. I could shove that green block all the way down to the bottom. Hoping I would hope that I don't need it for something else. That would just be my main concern, right? So that was the reason I wanted to put the gray block down there so that I can go down there without getting stuck. It's just, I don't know if I needed that green one, which
I think you did.
yeah, I'm kind of thinking that I didn't need it. So I might have to leave this puzzle for folks at home to give it a try and not spoil the answer here for it. Is there a demo that people can play yet, or will people wait for?
You'll have to wait for the full release.
Got it. This.
So I plan on working on it more over the summer, fleshing out the levels, adding more levels, just creating the whole world. And yeah, hopefully it'll be up soon.
Ooh, did I figure something out?
But the Steam page will be available a bit sooner than that, so you can wishlist it for when it's ready.
Okay, this one's gonna keep me up at night. I'll come back to this on my own time. Thanks so much for showing us this game. So we were dropping some links into the chat, and yeah, you can follow William on Twitter, and otherwise look out for the Steam wishlist page and the eventual Steam release for this. Thanks for sharing the game with us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Cool. See you all later. All right. So next up, we've got Project Astro. Jerry, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Jerry Mayton. I am a senior game design, and game programming student at Bloomfield College. I'm a solo developer on my Capstone project for Project Astro. It's been a long journey, pulling hairs and sweating a lot, just trying to get this, somewhat I wanted to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real challenge, and everybody here is doing a great job in pulling it together under difficult conditions. And so, Project Astro, do you want to tell us real quick what kind of game it is and what it's about?
Yeah. So Project Astro, it's just imagine living on your own on a peaceful new planet called Sola S1. But it's a peaceful planet, nobody interrupting you. No matter the distance you travel and the caves you find shelter in Sola S1, you might want to find a way to leave this planet for good, or just call it home, your new home. The main character, Astro, explores a newly discovered planet to learn about the surroundings and collecting useful supplies to survive, and to hopefully find a way to escape this dangerous planet. Project Astro starts off just after a very, very rugged and stressful battle and he's just re-exploring, making sure everything is completely back to it was, peaceful and quiet.
Got it. Sounds interesting. Let's check out the trailer. All right, that's Project Astro. Let me load up the game here.
Yeah, you can just press, yeah, there you go, cool.
Cool, so here I am in my little survival cave. Let's go out exploring. Had a weird dream. Should explore around. So we've got this little planet to explore.
Yeah, so I actually updated it a little bit, so you have three little, actually two little puzzles to find how to get into this new cavern. Well, not new cavern, it's actually the battle. Just to make sure everything, like I mentioned before, to clear out, making sure every little critter is gone. Here is a little stopping point. You can't really reach this key, so you got to find the other one.
Right, but I will make a mental note of this because there might be something beyond here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, so when it comes to a world to explore here, sometimes it's a challenge to direct the player of where to go, but it looks like you've got some landmarks and some other tactics to kind of show the player, to draw interest to their eye, to think about, you know, where they might need to go next. So there was a self-made jacuzzi over there.
It'll be right, go to your left a little bit.
Yeah, this path here, cobblestone path.
Yeah, there you go. Turn sharp right.
Sharp right?
You just go back a little bit. Yeah, sorry. There you go.
No,
Turn left.
no
There you
worries. It's about the exploration, right?
Yeah, just gotta press the E a couple times, but it should work. All right, let's check it out. Let's see if that door opens.
Oh, okay. This door.
Yeah.
Yep, it's open.
Nice. And like I said before, we just rested from a small battle that we just had the night before in this cavern.
Oh yeah, wow. So the color change and the tone of this environment is totally different from, you know, indoors, underground or whatever, to the outdoors area over there. So let's see what's in here. Got a battle in here. What's that in the corner? Okay. Oh wow. Let's see if I've got anything I need to look for here.
The little statement is just saying that what's in the corner. I forgot to include the right corner right there.
Yeah.
There's gonna be weird things that doesn't really fit into this low poly world.
That
So you
definitely
see,
stands out.
it kind of stands out like a sore thumb. And yeah, you keep exploring, and you see like, how you call it? Everything seems to pan out. Everything looks like it's been cleared out, and you'll just continue your voyage, your little exploration.
See another one of those guys up there, top center.
Yeah.
All right.
This will be, sorry to interrupt, but maybe down the path I'll actually have that, I call it open door behind you to explore a little bit more deep into the cave. But nevertheless, I want to just make a statement on my game.
Got it. So I'm gonna come back out here and see what else there is to look at. Yeah, so I'm getting sort of the way the story is going, right? There's not an explicit direct, this is what happened. We're just sort of piecing it together a little bit, like learning from, the leftovers on the floor that there was some sort of battle. Starting out in like a cave, which doesn't really look like a permanent dwelling, that, this isn't necessarily home.
Yep.
And now we're finding a new pathway.
Yep. So here I placed two small little puzzle, simple.
Yeah, I saw something like this in the trailer.
Just you just hit the C key.
Oh, okay.
And you can start shooting into the castle, and you'll find that it'll work. There we go. Yeah. The other one is actually you passed it. So yeah, it's on the far left.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep, this well-lit path makes it clear that I want to go here. So yeah, we give the feeling of this being like really open world and exploring, but there are definitely some affordances to navigation here, right? Cobblestone paths, lit paths, one area kind of leading into the next naturally. And the new pathway here that this person doesn't remember, also again, reminding us that this is not home for this person.
Yeah. It's gonna be a weird, like, why? So it just came out of nowhere. So yeah, you switch over, get a little closer towards the key. It should prompt up. A little closer. You don't have to see the camera.
Oh, okay.
Just get a little closer. There you go. And you can look at the door by just turning a little bit, just to make sure.
There
it
is.
It did open. All right, there you go. Cool. Yep.
This is quite a door. I'm just gonna take a moment to really look at this door.
It's because it doesn't really fit. Just like how we had that random enemy that just out of nowhere came into my game. Came into this solo S1. Why is this monster here? So we continue the path. Enjoy the view.
Yeah, something. Okay. Ooh. The glitch. It looks like Skinners are blocking the satellite again.
You can explore the little hut, the little room. Hopefully the audio is working.
Yep, I hear footsteps and a different walk cycle than I had before. So now I This is really different.
So in this section, yeah, we we see it's a different view of what is actually happening. So if I don't know if I should include what's the actual story or what's the twist.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay, so at the beginning of the game, we play in a VR simulation because Project Astro has been on this planet for some time. Right now, we're going to enter the smoke cutscene. And here, so basically, as a continuing, when Project Astro has been in the simulation, I mean, Soul S1, sorry, for some time, you know, he gets bored and he's tired of interacting with the skin eaters. So he and his space shuttle, he did have some way to modify a VR headset, and lives a very quiet and peaceful location in the planet. But then again, you see those little glitches with the skin eaters blocking those satellites. And your companion, your how you call it? You could say you kind of your partner, but it's actually your how you call it? I don't know how you call these guys, but he's letting you know that there's something going on, so he's giving you a different path. That's why you see that new path you never seen before. So he could actually just kick you out of the VR life. And this is where the game will actually start, and then he will progress later on. And here and then this new scene is just basically saying that I appreciate for this 9 months from last semester and this semester that with all the decent feedback, I am going to continue playing, working on Project Astro during the summer, and extending that second scene that you just stumble upon. And this is where the game will start off.
Very cool. So this is sort of, you know, like a teaser demo for what's to come. And,
yes.
Yeah, that twist there, that the whole first part was actually a simulation that you're running through. Excited to see where this goes. Thanks for sharing this with us. I see we can follow you there on Twitter and on Itch to find out about the release later on.
Yeah, hopefully during the summertime.
All right, awesome. We'll drop the links in the chat. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
All right, take care.
You too.
Okay, that's Project Astro. Let's check up on the next game, which is how do we pronounce this? Maybe I'll let you introduce the game. How's it going, Michael?
It's pronounced I love you.
Yeah, I knew it was. I just wanted you to say it.
Great title.
So, yeah, you can introduce yourself and also tell us, you know, in brief what this game is.
All right. My name is Michael Apollo. I'm a fourth-year game design student here at Bloomfield College. And I Love You is a 2D puzzle game where you control two characters, but they move opposite each other. When one moves right, the other moves left, and so on and so forth. The goal of the game is to get the two characters together, because it's supposed to be a sort of love story.
Cool. Just getting the game on the screen now. Here we go. So yeah, the sort of the pun or the joke in the title is, you know, the Owo and the Uwu characters here. Yeah, let me jump right in here and put this title back on. Okay, so we have two characters, Owo and Uwu, and they move around on the map like this. And as you mentioned, they move in opposite directions. So if I move Owo to the right, Uwu moves to the left. And that's what this first level, I guess, is teaching us.
Yep.
And that we have to get them together. And they make those cute faces. Okay. So it's a puzzle game, it's a maze game of sorts, and I guess here we're seeing that, you know, the shape of the level, right? Like if OO is blocked and you press the buttons, UWU can still move, and likewise, if OO is not blocked but UWU is blocked from moving vertically, one of them moves and the other doesn't. So I'm guessing that'll come into play in future levels, like this one where they're right next to each other, but we're gonna have to figure out how to get them actually together. Do you want to tell us a little bit about, well, where do we start? I guess the art style, the animation style, and the theming of it.
Okay. So this game was actually my final project for my intro to game programming class. When I made the game with my friend Vivian, who used to go here, but she transferred a couple years back. I don't exactly remember where the art style came from, but I don't remember exactly where the art style came from, but I remember we decided on this as it was very cutesy and very simplistic. We just kind of fell in love with it as we were developing the game.
Oh yeah, it makes it very approachable, and you know, you think about drawing these little faces or typing them out, or drawing them, I guess, with pencil on, you know, on paper, and you know, it gives it this feeling of approachability here, even if it might get a little bit challenging at times. And yeah, tell us about the process here as well, because I understand to build the levels, you worked quite a bit on the system for that, right? Like
Yep.
a level design, a level editor system.
Yep. The first semester was all about pre-development. In the first semester, what I was doing was I was creating a tool that allowed me to create levels quicker than I used to. Because when I did it in Intro to Game Programming, I had to manually create and prefab levels within the Unity editor, and that took a lot more time than it did to just say have a tool that I can just click and drag and save levels separately. One of the cool things about doing that was that I was even able to come up with my own level file format, which was a lot of fun to develop. It was kind of a challenge, a technical challenge, trying to figure out, okay, so how do I store data within a file, and then how do I load that data in a separate program? It took me a long time, but I was really glad I was able to get it working like this.
Cool. Wait, so is the final form of the level data, is it like a JSON file, or is it something else?
No, it is a custom binary.
Custom binary. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a really great preview into how this game works. And so, is there? So now you have this level editor built in. That means, I'm guessing, that now it's really easy to make new levels for it?
Yep. I can make a new I can make a new level in about 10 minutes if I wanted to. Most of the levels you've seen here were developed in less than 20 minutes.
Oh, great. So yeah, the heavy lifting
but...
of this was this new system you created.
Yep.
What are your plans for this game? Is it available now for people to play, or will it be?
Yep, it's available on itch.io right now.
Okay.
I do plan to continue development. I got a feeling this game is never going to be technically finished because I feel like I'm always going to be adding new levels to it.
Well, good thing you built that your custom editor, so you can always update the game. But we have the link to the game. We'll put since it's available as a demo now on itch, we'll drop that in the chat, and people can play this at home. All right. Thank you for showing us this game.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure talking. And yeah, see you later.
Have a good one.
Take care. Okay, cool. Okay, next up we've got a game called Cardiac Unrest, and we have the developer here with us. Would you like to introduce yourself and also tell us in brief what the game is about, what kind of game it is, and what it's about?
Hi, my name is Jack Gianduso. I'm the game developer, and Cardiac Unrest is the survival horror single-player first-person shooter, a third-person shooter, my bad. And so you're a combat exorcist, and you are trying to exorcise a ghost in a school.
Got it. Let's check out this trailer. All right, cool. So, did I see that right at the end there? It's coming to both itch and Steam.
Yeah, that is correct. It's on itch right now, and I'm processing it for Steam.
Awesome. So, at some point during this, one of us will post the link to the chat. And as for right now, let me load up the game itself. Just a moment here. Pop that open, and once that opens, I'll put it on the screen. So let's see. So we've got a ghost haunting the high school, or haunting the school, and we are coming to find it. So let's talk about it in terms of mechanics. Because there's a particular way to detect the ghost, right?
That is correct. You have at the bottom left, there will be a ghostometer, which is similar to a spudometer, but it shows you when the ghost is close. And it's exponential, so it will go up really high when he's really close.
Okay, cool. So we're in here, Cardiac Unrest. Starting the game, and it's loading. And once we pop in, we'll take a look. And I want to adjust my brightness here. I like that you've got this initialization set up here. So yeah, I'm going to have the brightness up pretty high here. Okay, cool. So on the bottom left, that's what you were talking about, a ghostometer. And I guess the higher the number, the closer the ghost is?
Correct.
Okay. And here we're going to pick up the ghost rifle, which we exercise with, and holy bullets. And here we are in a classroom. There's a desk drawer here, which we're opening up, and we got a book. Can you tell us about the book that we just collected? Jack, are you there on the call?
Say it again?
Oh yeah, can you tell us about the book that we just collected?
Oh, okay. So the book is like I call it a prayer, and it's used to ward away the darkness, because the ghosts will make everything around you darker, and that's essentially how you lose. So this is almost it's basically a healing item, I would say.
So my number on the ghostometer is getting really high now. Um, that means it's close by. Okay, it's dropping down, so it's over here somewhere.
It looks like it.
Okay. And the ghost is moving also, right? Is that why it's kind of...
Yeah, the ghost
changing
does
its
walk
position?
around.
Ooh, what was that? Okay, off the charts here. I know I have a flashlight here. Ooh, I hear the ghost. Okay, we are at 8 here. Not in this room. And so here's one of the effects. You mentioned the ghost will sort of turn the lights off, which I see has happened here. It's getting pretty dark. Oh gosh, it's getting a little too dark. Okay, so the ghost got me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got. Okay, let's see if I can try this again.
I just restart the application.
So we're gonna try this again, and we're gonna try a different strategy. What are your gameplay tips here when we get close to the ghost? When when the ghostometer is really high, what would you do?
Look for the ghost and start firing at him.
Okay.
And try not to stay too close to him, because the closer you are, the more he's hurting you.
Okay, there we go. So I'll keep that in mind. Do you have any sort of inspirations for this game, or any kind of research that you've drawn from, or just anything like that?
I kind of was inspired by like the classic slasher games like Slenderman, and maybe more modern ones that are more silly, like Baldi's Basics, or maybe even the newest game called Phasmophobia.
Oh yeah, and what about these appeal to you that made you want to, or like what aspects of them or what elements did you want to recreate or do differently or anything like that?
Like to create like suspense in games, and I like playing games where I have to be cautious because I'm just afraid what's gonna happen. Like it's cool to be scared, but also you also are curious to explore, and that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of tension here as you know the ghost is nearby, but oh gosh, it's happening. Is that? Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh no.
Looks like you got him stuck. You gotta have to heal.
Oh right, heal is H key.
That's a first.
It happens. I think I was just about to get got again.
Yeah, I think so.
So, just as well. Hop in here one more time. And if I don't get it, we'll just have to leave it up to folks at home to give it a shot themselves, see if they can do better than I. But yeah, it's really tense and gets kind of scary very suddenly when the ghost comes and all the lights turn out, and my instinct was to run away, but I probably needed to to buckle down and do it a little differently. Now that, I assume, is the ghost.
Don't get stuck there. You might get stuck if you go inside the room.
I think I got him a little. And I'm gonna keep my hand on the H button for heal. Okay, it's moving around. So there's a bit of a randomness to this, like each time the ghost will be in a different place, but the layout is the same as this one high school layout. Can you tell us a little bit about the level design and, like, you know, the space that you've created here? And I saw that there's like, oh shoot, there's posters on the wall, and yeah, just tell us a little bit about the space and the environment that you've created.
I pretty much based it off of the schools I've been to in the past, and I just wanted to feel as much like a school as possible, but also I wanted to give it the feel of like a school where, you know, no one's there. And because at nighttime, if you go to a school and like you're doing some kind of extracurricular activity at a school, and it's late night and no one's there, it just feels creepy having open hallways and no one there because of how normally active a school is. And that's what I wanted to try and create.
Yeah, that's a good point. Schools, you know, people think of them as really bright and really full of people, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, people moving from place to place. But that space was really the opposite of that. It was dark. It was empty. The halls were rather wide and open, which would probably look normal if it was full of people, but it just looked so, you know, there were purpose rooms like a basketball court and like a classroom, and like some trophy cases, but being completely empty of people like that, and just running around with the lights getting darker, definitely gave it this really creepy vibe. So we'll share the link in the chat if we haven't already, so people can try this at home. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for sharing the game with us, and looking forward to trying this again later, trying to get the ghost.
Yep. Hope everyone has fun with it.
Cool. Thank you. So next up, we are going to play a game called Alien Factor, and we have the team here with us. Yeah, does the team, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Sean Farkas. I worked on the level design for Alien Factor.
Hello, my name is Devin Hood, and I worked on the programming and music.
And my name is Matt Vasquez, and I worked on all the visual design and art.
Cool. Can you all tell us about just the game in general, and what kind of game it is and what it's about?
Yeah, it's a stealth puzzle game where you play as a group of aliens that are attempting to escape a government facility and find their way back home.
All right, let's jump right into it. Yeah, you've got this nice intro cinematic on the title screen. Just watch this a little bit. So, our perspective, we are the aliens here. We saw 3 aliens here. You know, the green one, the blue one, and the purple one here. And so that's sort of a hint at, you know, the purple one moves boxes, the blue one operates like electronics and stuff, and yeah, and let's jump right into this game. So we'll start off as this one here, and this is sort of a part puzzle game, part stealth game, right? So that spotlight, the flashlight, I'm trying to avoid detection.
Yes, if you get spotted by the guards or the cameras, you will be caught.
Okay, and that object I just collected, keycard, I suppose, to unlock this door, which I believe I press a button. What button was it again? E.
It was E, yeah.
And I can press space to move these blocks around in order to open a path here. Second keycard. And I saw over the wall here, there's another security guard that I want to watch out for, so... Ooh, watch out for the... I saw that the flashlight was changing color a little bit. That means I almost got caught there.
Yep, it changes from yellow to red the closer you are to getting caught.
Got it. And so that was security guards. Here is a stationary security cam. So I'm going to watch for its pattern of stopping and starting, and then move past it. Get the key card. Oh. All right. So let me try that again. Okay, I gotta play a little more patiently. So I'm gonna wait for the camera to look fully upwards before actually getting that close. Okay, here we go. Then wait for it to get fully downwards. Grab the key card. And can you tell us a little bit about some of your goals, your design goals for this game, whether that has to do with the art style or the level design?
Yeah, I can talk about the art style. So I'm a pretty I commonly use pixel art for my previous games, and I wanted to try something a little bit different. So all the characters and most of the textures are hand drawn in other programs.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just wanted to have a little bit more of a less serious looking art style, and I think it was also based on like I was inspired by old Flash games that would be on old websites in the early 2000s, like games I would play on my computer as a little kid. So that was a pretty big inspiration for me.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely got a little bit of that Flash game inspiration. I feel that the flat paper-like quality of the characters, and you can see it really on that security guard, how like he sort of rotates and you see the flatness there. Gives it a certain kind of cartoony feel and approachable feel to it. Right. And okay, so we got our second alien here, and this one can operate electronics. So this red door, this alien can open it, and the other first alien can move these boxes around. So we're starting to get some level designs where where we need to use different aliens for different things. And yeah, I'm curious about how designing levels for this has been like, and any thoughts there about the design goals for that?
Yeah, one of the main goals when designing the levels was to make the player employ like some kind of strategy, like have to think about like how to avoid being caught while also solving all of these puzzles. And we also wanted the game to be difficult but fair.
Got it. Yeah, it is a little difficult in that I'm getting caught a bunch of times, but it's pretty clear to me why I'm getting caught. So, I'm perfectly happy jumping right back in and trying again. I got caught down here last time, so I want to be careful of what's down there. Is another security camera. So I'm going to watch the pattern, grab it, and then get out. Okay. Ooh. And one of you was focused on programming the game. Any goals there, or any challenges there that came up during the development of this?
a lot of my goals was to try to get the alien powers to work and learning about AI and navigation because I've never done that in Unity before. I've only done it once. So it was a big accomplishment for me to get the camera and the guard working properly. A lot of challenges that came up mainly, as Sean knows, is the alien powers with the telekinesis because the boxes refused to work after multiple attempts of doing it. And we finally got it to work.
Yeah, seems to work okay, moving the boxes around. You mentioned something about AI, so let's talk about that a little bit, like, because the security guards seem to have a couple behaviors that it moves between. Is it like a state machine that you're using, or just how it works, right? Because he's got a mode where he's just sort of patrolling, and then a mode where he's chasing, right?
So I used the nav mesh and I made 2 modes for the guard. So one is just the regular patrol. So he kind of has like a patrol route that he takes, but he goes to random spots on the patrol route. So it's not just the same pattern over and over again. And then if he spots you, he'll like kind of chase you. And then once you like break his line of sight, he'll just go back to doing that patrol route again.
Got it. Okay, so I got caught again, but I know where everything is now. So this is about execution. I've got a security camera down here. Grab that real quick, pull this box. Then I'm gonna get down here. Watch out for the camera on the bottom. I have a key card, so I can open this, and then I have a control panel here, so I switch aliens and operate that. I saw the lights change. I'm gonna move back, and the red door up top should be open now. Just gotta watch out for the security guard, which, as you mentioned, has a somewhat randomized patrol path. So that is also sometimes a pitfall of these kind of stealth games, is when the guards just move in the same path over and over again, right? It becomes a little too predictable. So you've added to that a little bit by randomizing the patrol path. And I think that's a nice touch. Okay, so here's our third alien. And let's see what this one does. Okay, can pass through certain barriers that the other aliens cannot. I don't know if I'll have time to complete this level, but we're actually gonna be able to see some of it and get a taste of how 3 aliens works. So I got a key card here. There's a red door, so I know I'm gonna need the blue alien to open that door. Do you have any inspirations for your work or anything that came up during research? I know you mentioned the whole Flash games era of the 2000s. I don't know, 2000 to 2010, would you say? Oops. But yeah, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was I think because I mostly played old like Flash games off of old websites like Addicting Games and Newgrounds, and I can't recall some of the games specifically, but I do have specific memories of these games that I can't remember anymore because they've also been just gone off the internet, of these kind of just hand-drawn goofy looking games, very simple mechanics, and I played them all the time, and I very much enjoyed making this project, in that it kind of brought me back to something that did inspire me to play more games, which I guess led me to where I am today. So
yeah, it's a really good point that you mentioned there also about games of this era being sort of gone now, right? With Adobe, with support for Flash being gone from browsers. Deprecated when at the end of last year. So we're sort of losing a lot of games history gradually over time, and there's definitely a lot of people who are going to be fondly remembering that era and nostalgic for it, and just sort of that piece of history is there's going to be a gap there, right? And it's interesting to see these days you see some of that aesthetic kind of propping up again, right? Like you look at popular games like Among Us, right? And it comes very much from like a Flash aesthetic, and those people got their start making Flash games, as well as like a lot of developers did from that era. So so it's interesting to see your take on this, and I swear I'm gonna get this panel without getting caught. Okay, I hit it. And please don't let me get caught on the last stretch of this level. Okay, cool. We will leave level 5 for the folks at home to try to figure out if they can do it. I'll just walk through a little bit to see. There was a key card. There was a security camera right at the opening there. We're gonna need all 3 aliens, just like we did in the last level, I presume. So if you're looking for this kind of stealth game challenge, folks at home, can people download this yet? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we're doing like a alpha test sort of thing on the itch page, so people can download it, play it, and it's not up right now, but we'll have like a survey people can take, where they can add any bugs they find or just answer some general questions so we could get an idea of the game right now. And we're going to, over the summer, polish it up and release like a final version on Steam.
Okay, amazing. So we will all look out for that. If we have links for people to like follow and to just know where to get it in the future, we'll drop those in the chat as well. Thank you for joining us and for sharing your game with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, and thank you.
All right. Next up, we're going to bring on the team behind 7 Years War. Team, if you're there, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jason Jackson.
Hi, I'm Evan Tomsky.
Hey, I'm Joseph Grezov.
Hi, I'm Joe Pierre.
All right, and do you want to tell us in brief what kind of game is 7 Years War and what's it about?
Sure. So 7 Years War is a 2D explorer top-down shooter that is based around the event in history known as the French Indian War, which is a historic event that instigated a global scale battle in history.
Cool. And you've got a trailer here, so we'll play that. Let's see how that looks. And got the trailer loaded up here. Okay, here we go.
It's the 7 Years' War. Explore through the Ohio Valley in 1754 as you trade with the natives and fight for territorial establishments. Cut through the forest of Jumonville Glen and battle the British Army who are trying to expand their North American occupation. Expand your knowledge of this historic event and play the 7 Years' War.
All right, so there was that Twitter link there where people can follow. We'll drop that link in the chat as well. Let me pull the game itself up now. All right. So this game is playable in web. So any browser, right? Someone can play it. And here we're opening with a Santayana quote. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And what do you recommend? Do you recommend that we look at how to play, or that we just jump into it?
You could jump right into the campaign mode. How to play really is just a pop-up menu just to give quick instruction about what the player needs to do in order to operate the game.
Cool. I love that animation on the title screen where, you know, it's a battle, but who's winning if everybody on both sides dies? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Let's see. 1754 in Ohio. We're going to speak with this guy here. And bring me a beaver pelt, and I'll trade you a useful tool for your journey. Okay, so we'll look for a beaver pelt. And who is this person? Who are these people that we're speaking with?
That would be a member of the Evan, help me out. Was this the Algonquin tribe?
Yes.
Who fought alongside with French militia in a sort of when there was a conflict between the British Army, who was trying to expand their territories westward and make some establishments heading towards Pennsylvania and Ohio. There was a confrontation between the two parties, and the French side had relied on assistance from the Algonquin tribe to assist them in battle against the British forces.
Cool. And I also saw a reference there to Mingo and what's going down over in Virginia. And perhaps I should have been paying a little more attention. These people are asking me a question at gunpoint, and they're pointing their guns at me. Who is my commander? And shoot. Okay, I got that correct.
And you guessed correctly, yes.
I should use my axe to cut through these bushes, so I'll use B to use my axe. Oh, I don't have an axe. I better get an axe. What I needed was a beaver pelt, which I need to find. I see beavers. I don't know if that was a squirrel.
It is a squirrel. However, the squirrels will give you beaver pelts to trade.
Okay.
That was just a way we just wanted to sort of include some other style of wildlife. But what the game was indicating was the importance about the trade values with the Native Americans and the French, and how their trade kind of was established. It led to a lot of prosperous gains for both sides of the party. The French would come over to North America in the spring. They would use those furs, trade those furs back in Europe, and what they would do is bring pots and silverware and other types of useful tools to the Native Americans from Europe.
Got it. And right now, the character that I'm controlling is the perspective of a French soldier. We've traveled from Canada, and the British forces are approaching from Virginia, and that's why I'm wearing blue. And these who are wearing red. Oh, good for me to know that I just looked this up. Okay, so I came from Canada. I answered that correctly. If I answered incorrectly, it would have been a little more like this, where people would be shooting at me, right?
Correct. Yes, a wrong answer would immediately eliminate the player, starting them back at the top of the layout. So what you just went through was you're on the second layout of, I guess what you would call like a three-part level, and really just kind of wanted to have a map that kind of indicated what kind of geographical location this was. So it was a lot of green and trees in that area. Justin did a lot of the layout designs.
Okay, and I see there's there's a bit of an educational goal here, but there's also sort of an entertainment goal, right? There's these action sequences in between. Can you talk a bit about sort of balancing the two and how you tried to design for both?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we wanted to kind of create something that was, a little more on the historical accuracy side. Although this this version of the game, you do get a kind of a loose description of what this was about, but we wanted to make something that players could take into the classroom, like after having played this. And I can speak for myself, and I'm sure from what I've heard from like our fellow classmates who have also play tested the game, is history is not everyone's favorite subject. I know it wasn't mine, and a lot of the ideas that I had is like, oh, it was history, like why do we need to know this? And so we started just thinking of ways how can you make a learning game fun without being a learning game? What's something that you would want to play for entertainment, but you could learn something while you are traveling through this this digital landscape? And so that really was the focus, was trying to make it entertaining and educational at the same time without being looked at like a learning game.
Cool. So yeah, history and research was an important part of the development of this game. Can you talk about the research and sort of how maybe point out some ways in the game that it shows up? I mean, I see that there's like these text segments, right, that are very clearly drawn from records. Yeah, and any other details that might be worth pointing out here in terms of how your historical research tied into some of the choices in the game?
Yeah, sure. So earlier in the process, it was a lot of deciding kind of like how much you had to put in. And the thing with researching historical facts is like there's a lot of it, and there's a lot of resources to go through and to sort of kind of distinguish one side's version versus another side's version. And some of those differences could be as little as, oh, this particular historical figure was shot in this area, or it was or they were stabbed like this, or somehow so trying to pick out those pieces, you're sort of like deciding like, well, how much accuracy can we put it in where we're telling basically what happened, but it's not exactly pinpointed, but we're still getting the gist of what happened to the public or to the eyes of the player. We began to kind of start focusing more about the gameplay, because getting trying to put too many facts into something that's fun it sort of became a little further stretched from what our immediate goals were, and the rest of the game during our the second half of this process really became about polishing up and making sure things worked correctly, which was including the movement of the playable character. That was something that we were really having a hard time doing because we wanted to make it look like it was turning, but in a two-dimensional way without being exactly from the extreme top down. And so what we think we did successfully was kind of create this, create a level of interest in the subject matter, and just let this sort of point in history be known to players who would want to pick this up and look at the art style, and maybe they're attracted to kind of to dub it like kind of like this cutesy artistic style to it, which Jude did all of the artwork for. And yeah, so we sort of created, we want to create this interest and have people who play it kind of want to look up the historical facts about what happened. And we think games like this could bring more interest to kids and teenagers wanting to learn about history if we make it in this fun way.
Cool. Yeah, you mentioned something about the art style there, and it reminds me of the conversation we were just having on the last project about sort of a callback to the Flash era, and this being an actual web game as well. But seeing some of those same strong outlines and the sort of primary tone colors and the vector style rounded corners and the shapes of the flat characters rotating in the space are all really bringing back that familiarity of to people who are familiar with that whole Flash games. But yeah, thanks so much for sharing all of that. Those are some really challenging and ambitious goals of bringing history into an entertainment and the educational and the entertainment, and trying to bring that together. We didn't really talk about it as it was happening, but that battle there at the end there was pretty interesting, where it shifts perspective to the side perspective, and you fought against Colonel Washington, but of course it wouldn't be realistic if you defeated him fully, or it wouldn't be historically accurate.
Correct.
So he retreated there right at the end, right?
Yes. There was a George Washington's defeat at the Battle of Fort Necessity, which is sort of hinted when you start this skirmish mode. We have implemented this alternative mode of playing the game if you wanted to just do sort of a point score kind of run through. We had thought about, what is it that makes sort of like, war games like Call of Duty or Battlefield kind of interesting to play, and it's sort of the play mode options that you can do. As you can see, our character is turning sort of in circles, and that was for a long time the main way that this character turned. It was a turret system that was put on a sprite, and so it worked in the general idea for the original prototype version of the campaign mode, but eventually we did have to switch to a more a different dynamic for how the character was going to turn, because spinning upside down it wasn't typically the way we wanted to do. And for the angle perspective, we couldn't have the character just going in all in 4 different directions as well.
Got it. And up here on the Switch page, I see you've included your sort of statement about the work here. And that we have a Twitter here that we could follow you at, as well as a mailing list. So those links are here on the itch page. We'll drop a link to all of those things in the chat now.
And the game is available for early access on Steam, which we're happy to announce.
Oh, great. That's big news. So does that mean we have a link for that yet?
We do have a link, and we'll put it in the chat.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing the game with us. All the links are in the chat, and yeah, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thank you. Really happy to be here.
Cool.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So next up, that was 7 Years War. And next up, we've got Return. And let me check out the files here for, make sure that's all lined up. And do we have, Brandon, are you here on the call?
Hi, yes.
Hi,
Hello.
yeah. Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself and also tell us a little bit about what kind of game this is, what it's about.
All right, so my name is Brandon Valles. I am the creator of the game Return. It's basically a first-person game based on a short narrative that I wrote, and throughout the map, pretty much you're teleported to a random world, and along with you is items from your world as well, and you have to collect them in order to return back home.
Okay, cool. Let's check it out.
Huh. Where am I? What is this place? How did I get here?
Okay, so we've got some
I remember walking home.
gameplay showing
Did I
here.
end up here? That's weird.
There are artifacts here from the world. Collect them if you...
All right, so I see there's items collected, and that we have the protagonist, Jason, you know,
It's
walking
taken from a
home,
souvenir
ending up
case.
here in a strange
I remember
place.
going there with my dad.
It's nighttime, there's the trees blowing in the wind, and
basketball. I remember playing
so
with my
there's
friends when I was
artifacts
14.
right around here, and there's that we're trying to find. Can you tell us about these artifacts?
Yeah, so the artifacts or items, as I would call it, are pretty much like mementos or something that the protagonist Jason likes. Like some of these artifacts include like that basketball that he saw. That's when he
This
was
is one of
playing
my
with his
cards
friends.
from my collection.
That token that he just collected as well. That was when his dad. That's when his dad took him to like an arcade of very close friends
This is
of
also
his.
from one of the print collections.
The soccer ball, because he went play soccer in middle school. There's a comic book because he likes reading.
This is a toy plane that my
superheroes.
dad bought for me when I was a kid.
And cars, like and toys as well, like cars and planes, which he just likes also collecting as a hobby.
And so there, you said this was based on something you wrote, right? Did you say a short story or some other piece that you wrote?
Yes, this is a short story that I wrote. Pretty much, it's pretty much like a fiction story. Where
Where am I? What is this
the
place?
protagonist
How did I
Jason
get here?
is just minding like his normal day at
I
school
remember
and walking home,
Did I end up
and out of nowhere he just gets teleported to this different world.
There are artifacts here from the world.
And along with him,
Collect them.
came with the artifacts, and there's this voice, anonymous, that tells him, you've been, like, in order to return home, you have to collect these certain artifacts or items.
Got it.
Huh.
And
It's talking from Mr. Remier's case. I remember going there with my dad.
would you say that is that like in some way, you know, drawn from your own life, or like even partially autobiographical in some elements? Like, for example, these aspects of basketball and soccer, are they something that means something personally to you?
Yeah. So mostly on the soccer and the, because I drew I think two of those from my own life, where it's the soccer
This is
and
one of my cars from my collection.
the toys. The soccer is because I always, since a little kid, I always enjoyed playing soccer with my friends or family.
This is also from one of
And
the
with
plane
the
collections.
toys, is I always collected them, like even vintage toys. I would say. But yeah, and I decided, hey, I want
This
to
is a toy
just
plane that my dad
bring
bought
this
for me
in,
when I
and
was a
along
kid.
with other types of like teenage things, what other things teenagers enjoy.
And can you tell us a little bit about the, I guess, the goals with your personal goals or design goals with converting this short story into this sort of space and interactive experience? You've created a place here. You've created,
Where am I?
some
What is
places
this
for
place?
the player to
How did I
search
get here?
through. And yeah, just tell us a little bit about your goals and transferring
I
this kind of
remember walking
experience of reading a story towards, a more spatial experience in the game.
So basically, since this isn't my first time working with an environment, because usually I just do like 3D, like objects, like cubes, circles, cylinders. So this is actually the first time using an environment, using the terrain system, the wind zone mechanic.
It's talking from Mr. Remier's case. I remember
And it's
going
all
there with
very
my
new
dad.
to me, but as I kept making the game, I kept learning on how to use it. Pretty much. Also with Pro Builder that I had to install, it was a bit challenging with it as well, but I got the hang of it on how the keys, like the shortcuts for the keys were and everything. And
This is one of my cars
I
from
remember
my
when I
collection.
was walking through the space. Basically when you would come across certain points, it would sort
This
of
is also from
trigger
one of the
these
plane
lines of
collections.
narration or dialogue, and so there was sort of like this transposition of the monologue parts of the story, and
This is a toy
putting
plane
it
that my
and
dad bought for
attaching
me
it
when I
towards
was
a
a kid.
place that the player would progress through in a certain order. And of course, you could find the objects in different orders. So yeah, I remember noticing all of that when I was playing through here. I see here it says coming to Itch soon, right?
Mhm.
Is there a link that people can find yet, or will they just have to wait out for that?
Yeah, I'm finishing up some last minute touches, and I'll be sending the link.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us and sharing the game with us.
Thank you.
And we'll keep our eyes out for a return on Itch.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Let's see what we've got next up. We've got Nafet River. And we have the developer here with us. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well as the game?
Hi, my name is Anthony Bonacci, and Nafet's River is an action river rafting game. Two players compete against each other to outlast each other on the river.
Cool. Should we jump right into the trailer?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Awesome. Now let me also pull up the gameplay. Give me a moment here. Okay, here we go. So we saw a few things in there in that trailer. So it's 2 players, and there's a couple phases of the game, right? First there was, collecting wood, and then there was sort of a watercraft gets built out of that, and then there's sort of a water racing sort of segment. So, do you want to talk through the 2 phases of the game?
Yeah, so I referred to the first one as the land phase. During the land phase, you and your opponent, you're chopping down trees to try and get lumber, which you're going to use to build your rafts. You could attack each other, and so if you hit your opponent, and if they already have some lumber collected, they're going to lose a portion of it. You can see the timer's going down, so you have a certain amount of time to do this until you're ready for the river phase. And so the river phase, as I mentioned earlier, you're just competing to outlast your opponent. So there are rocks that will spawn on the river, and you just have to maneuver around them to dodge them. And you could also throw like little wood chips at your opponent to try and mess them up. And right now what that does is invert their movement controls.
Cool. So there's can you talk a little bit about the art style? I know that was something that you were pretty particular about during development.
Yeah, sure. So growing up, one of my first video game consoles was a Game Boy Advance. And so one of the first games I played on it was Pokemon Fire Red. A few years ago, I started playing Zelda Minish Cap, which was also a game for the Game Boy Advance. So those 2 games mainly helped influence the art style I used for this game. Typically when I do pixel art, I usually do something more detailed. So I wanted to cut back and do a more simplistic style, like in those 2 games.
Yeah, so we have a pixel art approach here to the game graphics, and it gives it this, very sharp and crisp kind of contours to everything, and it shows also in the style of animation that we're seeing. And you referenced the Game Boy Advance era. If we could pin down in years of a range, what would we call that era? Is that the late 90s into the early 2000s or so?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much the early 2000s.
Early 2000s more, yeah. Yeah, so there's something about how you wanted to sort of combine this art style with the kind of gameplay it is, right? Because the type of gameplay it is, it also refers back to that era as well, right? To some extent.
Yeah, so there's some Game Boy games with multiplayer functionality. Mainly with the art style, I wanted the environment to look kind of cutesy, even though I'm aiming for sort of like an action-packed experience, with like a single game lasting around 2 to 3 minutes. And I wanted the graphics and like the UI to be easy to read. This way, if someone kind of glances by the controls, or if they're picking it up for the first time, they kind of know exactly what's going on. As soon as you hit the first button, you see you have an axe, you see trees, so you know to start chopping them down, for example.
Right, yeah, there's some very clear affordances here on what what the game objects are and what you should be doing with them. There's sort of like a one-on-one kind of direct competition sort of thing to it, but it's interesting that there's 2 phases to it, one being like a sort of a, I don't know if you would call it a tactical or like there's a resource collection thing here, but there's also direct interaction where you can interfere with each other. And then there's like that racing phase. So you're really combining a lot of modes, and even on the racing phase, there's a way also to interfere with each other. So you're combining like more than a couple of modes of one-on-one gameplay formats here. So there's kind of this like strict competitive feel, but there's also this sort of party game kind of element to it. So just curious if that had there was any direct correlation with your research or inspirations for this game, like across genres like that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with like Mario Party, and I enjoy making local multiplayer games. And now that I have a Nintendo Switch, and you know, a couple of my friends do, and you know, you could hook up a lot of controllers to a single console. We've been playing a lot of, you know, local multiplayer competitive games with each other. And so if we're just hanging out, maybe if we have to leave in a little bit, you know, we could always pick like a quick game to start playing, just to, you know, duke it out for a little bit before we get going. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with this, capture the same essence of also those Nintendo Switch games that I just mentioned. I just wanted to be a quick-to-play competitive experience. And so interacting between both players, trying to slow them down by, you know, attacking them to make their lumber count drop or inverting their controls on the river. That was really important because otherwise the players would just be focusing on themselves. And even though it'll still be somewhat of a competition, I think it feels a little less competitive if you're really only looking at your character, not keeping eyes on your opponent.
Yeah, I also saw that there was an element of configuration of your raft in that phase.
Yeah, so during the land phase, you're chopping down trees to collect lumber. In between the land phase and the river phase, you have a short period of time to upgrade your vertical movement speed or your horizontal movement speed. And so you could see as they're upgrading, the bars will go up to show how many times they upgraded each axis of movement. And then whatever wood that you don't spend on upgrading your rafts will turn into, you'll just get more wood chips to toss at the other player.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a very, very simple looking and it's very simple and approachable looking on its surface, but there's really actually like several systems here overlaid and interacting with each other. So there's some kind of hidden complexity to what you've made, right? There's like, it's spanning genres, it's spanning game phases and direct and indirect competition. And yeah, despite, and that's like, it's a very ambitious project, also paired up with a very approachable look. So, So yeah, that's really interesting work there. We saw it on the screen for a moment there, but you have an itch page. Is that where people should find the game or the demo, or tell us about your plans for the game or about where to get it?
Yeah, so the current demo is available on itch.io, and I can share a link to that in the chat.
Cool.
My goals for the game are for a full release on Steam. So when I finish developing the game, it'll be available on itch and Steam. So I'll be working on it this summer, and I'll be uploading new demo builds to the itch page, and it'll be at the same link.
Fantastic. All right, we'll keep our eye out for that. Thanks so much for sharing your game and for talking about it with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, cool. I'll see you later. And next up, we are going to get the next game queued up here, which will be Soulbound. Just want to get the title on the screen. Okay, there we go. And yep, we also have the developer here with us. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the game?
Sure. My name's Theodore Carl, and Soulbound is a cooperative Roblox game where players work together to defend the castle against waves of enemies. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll let the trailer fill in the rest, and we've got that queuing it up right now.
6 health, but I'm scared of him.
All right, that was quite a trailer. Awesome work. Let's jump right into the gameplay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, let's talk through some of what we're seeing on the screen and how the game works overall. So it's firstly it's multiplayer, right? Multiplayer co-op game.
Yep, a multiplayer co-op game.
Yep, and we've got 4 players working together here against waves of enemies.
Yeah, we've got 4 different classes. You can see that they each have different appearances because they're each playing as different classes. The player here in the example is the Shield Maiden, and you can see each of them. Well, you can see the Shield Maiden has 4 abilities across the bottom of their screen. Each class has their own different abilities, and you also just saw the upgrade system that our player investigated to buy an upgrade.
Cool. So the 4 abilities on the bottom down there. So right now we're seeing Heavy Bash, Bulk Up, Taunt, Primal Hell. That's for the Shield Maiden. And so there are other classes, other character classes, where those 4 abilities on the bottom are just totally different abilities, right?
Yeah, completely different.
Okay, cool. So what's the goal for the 4 players here? They're defeating waves of enemies, and how does it progress from there?
Well, each time you defeat an enemy, you'll notice that they gain more C. I've actually never decided if that was meant to mean credits or copper or what. It's C. That's what it is.
Yep.
So they gain C by killing enemies. They go back, they buy an upgrade to get stronger, as the enemies also get stronger each wave. They gain more health, and some of their stats increase very slightly as they continue on.
And at the end of the wave here, they go into that purple-blue volume to get their upgrades, and there's a green one where it looks like they're healing up.
Yes.
And then they ready up for the next wave. Cool.
Yes.
So I got a sense of the structure here. Let's talk about the upgrades that we saw there. So there was like a whole table of different kinds of upgrades you can get. What does that do for the player and the gameplay?
One of the main features with the upgrade is that it allows the player to really define the playstyle they're going for, because even across each class, those 4 different abilities can then be used different ways, such as with the Shield Maiden. You'll notice that I'm repeatedly using Taunt and Heavy Bash more than other abilities here, but you can also adjust how you play the Shield Maiden to instead try using Primal Howl more, which the way Primal Howl works is it's a buff for the rest of your team where they start performing better. They get increases to their stats and whatnot.
Okay, and now we're seeing things from the perspective of a different character class. What's this one?
This one is the Scout.
Cool.
So the Scout's job, unlike the Shield Maiden, which is a tank, the Scout is a utility-based class. So his job is to bring various buffs and debuffs. He focuses more on debuffs specifically, where you'll notice his abilities. He has the ability to poison enemies, he has the ability to stun enemies, and his third ability, their Crippling Blow, will slow down enemies, but also make it so they take more damage for a period of time.
Got it. So, so this character is very different from your playstyle would be very different from playing the other character with the Shield Maiden, where I imagine you're just being a tank type character. You would be running up to the front, maybe taking a bunch of damage for your team, while this character would be, I don't know, playing back and around more, helping out your allies or hindering the enemies.
Yeah, typically Scout performs better when it's focusing more on hindering enemies, but like I said, with how the upgrades work, you can adjust your playstyle to, as I did in this segment. My first upgrades were in Heal Pulse. I went right for helping my team before I went to hinder the enemy.
Very cool. So you've got a lot of systems kind of going on at the same time here. Before we dive into that, we were talking about character classes. So we saw the Shield Maiden. We saw 2 of them. Let's briefly talk through what the other classes are.
Okay, so there are 3 other classes currently. You'll notice there's 2 here. One just died and the other one just went after him. Those 2, in the order they died, was the Ghost and then the Hunter. Those are the 2 damage-based class, where Ghost's job is to get close to deal damage. The hunter can deal damage from a bit further away, as you see the arrows shooting past.
Okay, so there's a bunch of things going on here in terms of a variety of gameplay and ways that the game changes over time, and also changes in between, different times you're playing it. One is that, of course, it's multiplayer. So, with 4 people, you're playing with different people. It's going to be a different experience each time. On top of that, there are different character classes. So you can pick a different class and have a totally different play style. On top of that, there is, the C that you're earning. So the first wave is going to be very different from your second, third, or fourth wave, because you're going to spend those C on upgrades. And the upgrades are going to modify your 4 abilities or modify other things about your experience, so that even if you're playing with the same people and playing the same character class, it's still going to be a different experience based on how you're spending your C. Did I get all that right?
Definitely. I can even give an example of that while I was recording this, when I was playing as the scout during the second segment here.
Yep.
When I was playing as the scout, one of the people playing with me was also playing as scout, and as we went through it, he decided to go more focused on hindering the enemy, and I went more focused on helping the rest of our team. So there is that communication that would be needed between players to also work out what upgrades people are going to go for and when they should be going for them.
Very cool. So I imagine just seeing the way this is all set up with all these systems kind of overlaying and interacting with each other to create like this really expansive game space of like all different kinds of possibilities. I imagine that must be one of your main design goals here. Can you talk through, your design goal there and any other design goals that you might have had that we didn't talk about yet?
I really just wanted first to make a game that myself I would enjoy, because I find that's important. But as well as that, I wanted to make sure that it'd be something where you don't feel after you've beaten it as if you're done. You feel as if, all right, I've won the game, there's more for me to do. And I feel like the systems that are in place are particularly good at that idea.
Yeah, I totally see that here, that there's a focus on replayability, is how a lot of people describe it. Like, you can play this again. It's short enough and like repeatable enough, like with all those different systems and the variety they bring, as opposed to getting through a bunch of content that you would play only once. This is something you would want to do repeatedly. And you would sort of see a lot of new situations arise depending on who you're playing with, the classes, the upgrades, and everything.
Yep.
So that's definitely coming through in the design here. This is another one of the character classes that we were talking about here.
Yeah, this is the ghost that I mentioned earlier.
I saw they had an ability that makes them go like transparent or makes them less visible or something.
Yeah, that ability, Fade, it's the second ability on his bar. How Fade works is to make it so the enemies won't target him, and it also increases the damage he'll be dealing with each attack.
Okay, yeah, there is an action. Okay, so if we were to describe the archetype of this character, it's to sort of sneak around and do heavy damage on certain targets. It looks like he's playing really back and kind of like, not really in the front lines, just kiting and sneaking in and out.
Yeah, his abilities evolve around being, first of all, quick, and second of all, deadly. His job is just get in, deal damage, and get out.
And some of these classes have drawbacks or weaknesses, right? Like, so is this like less health or less durability or anything like that?
The way it works right now is a lot of the classes, aside from the Shield Maiden, all have relatively low health. They can only take like 3 or 4 hits before they're actually needing to escape.
Got it.
And that's particularly noticeable in the 2 damage classes, the Ghost and the Hunter, because they have the least health and least armor out of all the classes.
Yeah, so this balance of strengths and weaknesses, really accentuates the team aspect of it, the teamwork aspect of it. Yeah. So that's really cool. And now this game is available on Roblox, which is free, and the game itself here is free, right? And it's already available. People can go and get this and start playing it with their friends.
Yep, they can go right onto Roblox. They can search up Soulbound, or they can use the link in the chat.
Great. Yeah, we're dropping the link in the chat. Yeah, you all can check it out there. That would about wrap it up for this segment. And thanks for showing us this game, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been really fun semester and time here.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, that's it for this batch of developer interviews, but don't go anywhere just yet because there's still a few more projects to highlight in our showcase gallery. And the first of those will be Turbo Traveler. In Turbo Traveler, you experience a racing game where players travel to different regions and win races to prove that they are the fastest that there is. Let's check out the trailer for this right here. All right, give it up for Turbo Traveler. Next up, we're going to take a look at Who Are You? Now, Who Are You is an open world narrative game set in Limbo. And we'll check out the trailer for that right now. All right, that was Who Are You? Next up, we are going to take a look at Ye Old Castle Tower of Dwarven Treasure. Ye Old Castle Tower of Dwarven Treasure is a top-down dungeon crawler where exploration is the key. Each floor has treasures and monsters leading up to a boss every 10 floors. Let's check it out on video. All right, that was Ye Old Castle Tower of Dwarven Treasure. Links for the games, that whichever ones are available, we'll be dropping them in the chat. So be sure to check them out on your own machine. Next up, we are going to look at a few more games. Just a quick sneak peek. We've got Up and Away, where you play as Joe, who had a dream that they were in the sky. You jump from platform to platform without missing. Preview of Traversal, where you wake up in a room that's very unfamiliar to you without any realization of who you are or what you are. A voice coming from a speaker inside this room tells you to move forward in order to discover your true identity. Preview of Neutralized, which is a first-person stealth action adventure game which places the player in difficult situations as agents who protect international leaders. Delve deep into the missions you take and work your way up the ranks of a secret agent. Next up, we've got The Moon That Loved the Sun. The Moon That Loved the Sun is a short romance visual novel following Damas, the Wolf Prince of the Night, and Elida, the Swan Prince of the Day. And we've got Tired Cat. Tired Cat is an action platformer about a feline who wakes up stuck in a tire without a trace of who or where she is. Discover maneuvers, beat foes to bulk up, and master mechanics on your adventure to uncover the truth behind the whimsical worlds that surround you, and most importantly, how you ended up in it. Everyone in the chat, please give it up for the Capstone class of 2021 for sharing their work. They put together collectively something really great, each individually on their teams and also by themselves on their own. Really worked through that balance between personal expression and public appeal, investigating movement, motion, and perspective, things like control, discovery, and exploration, really grappling with audio and visual language, interactions and systems, art, programming, narrative, design, all over the place, market research, gameplay capture, and video editing. And really importantly, thinking about and talking broadly and deeply about games, but also about themselves and who they are as a creator. So really, it can't be overstated. Everyone here should be really proud of their work and also of themselves. All right, folks. That's enough for me. It's been a real pleasure. This is Adjunct Professor Brian Chung signing out for the night. And for the last time, just turning it over to Professor GJ Lee, the Game Dev Program Coordinator, for the final words of the night.
What a great showcase. Congratulations to all of our Capstone students. Tonight, I tried to pick out the best emoji associated with each of your games. I wonder if you can spot the one that is yours. You know, this was a tough year, and we are all very proud of what you've achieved. We look forward to seeing your future endeavors, and hopefully we'll start seeing each other, you know, at industry events. At industry events. Please stay in touch with us and keep us updated with all the wonderful things that you're gonna do. Thank you all to, thank you to our guests and the Bloomfield College community for spending your evening with us. And of course, a big thank you to Brian Joe for being our host again. There's a lot of technical work involved with getting the show together, so this absolutely could not have happened without you. With that, take care and good night, everyone. Stay safe, and we will definitely see you again next year. Bye, everyone.